I've got a few things for show and tell. The book Abolish Rent, I figured I'd buy a copy so I'd know what I'm up against with the Burbank tenant union. And before I talk a little bit more about my show and tell, I want to ask some questions, because it's really important when you're understanding not only what you're up against with the city council, but what you're up against with your own tenants. So it doesn't matter what group I'm addressing. It doesn't matter if it's school teachers or employees of Toyota Motors or Ford Motors or the FBI. I ask the following two questions, and I'd like to get your input with those answers. Question number one is, do you require, when you were of high school age, that you had a class that taught you how to handle money effectively? Let me see a show of hands. Got 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's a pretty good showing for such a small group. All right, second question. Do you recall when you were of high school age that your parents sat down with you and taught you how to handle money powerfully? Let me see a show of hands. Oh, okay, and that's probably why you own property. Okay, but when I'm surveying employees and large groups, I remember doing this for an insurance company, 600 people out there. And I asked the same questions. Only 10% can answer that favorably, that they learned it either in school or from their parents. And here I'm talking to a bunch of financial professionals. They had to figure it out on your own. Your tenants have to figure this out on your own. So I'm certified as a financial planner. I'm chartered as a life underwriter, had a wonderful financial education, and still did not know how to do a personal budget because it wasn't taught to me in any of those professional classes. It's not even taught to CPAs. I've helped CPAs through bankruptcy. They know how to fill out tax returns. Doesn't mean they know how to create wealth or handle money powerfully on a personal level, which also means they can't teach their clients the same thing. Your tenants are in that category. I guarantee 9 out of every one of your tenants does not know how to handle money well so that they can pay you rent. And a good example of that was that I had 2 attorneys living in one of my properties. Husband and wife, both earning an excellent living, could not pay the rent on time, month after month after month. And so what I did is I decided to sit down with them and talk to them about how to handle money effectively. How do you budget? How do you set up a spending plan? Once I did that and talked to them about how to pay themselves first, so they might be able to end up in a situation like many of you, or all of you, they not only started paying rent on time every month, they saved up enough money that they were able to buy a house. So from not being able to pay rent on time, they were able to qualify and buy a home. Another example. April mentioned, I didn't even bring up my own book, but she has a copy. That's okay, you just hold it up. Every one of my tenants, when they move in, gets a copy of my book. I have many tenants who've purchased a home after renting from me, and I had 15 units in Los Angeles under rent control. We sold 7 units. I did a Delaware statutory trust. But what I'm getting at is that those tenants were able to buy homes, which meant they moved out and I could bring the rent up to market. Okay? So my teaching them how to handle money effectively benefited me. And one of the tenants who moved out bought a triplex. Okay? Not just their own home. So these are the examples of when you support your tenants. Now let me ask you this. I mean, I've heard stuff about, your tenants. How do you feel about your tenants? Just a brief, whoever wants to share. If you like your tenant, yes, please tell me.
Most of my tenants have been with me anywhere between 15 to 20 years. They're stable. They don't, they call me, but by and large, I don't have any issues. In 50 years, I've only had 2 evictions.
Okay, so that's the attitude that works really well. Screening, obviously, so that you have the kind of tenants that can pay rent, stay a long time. I have, in Burbank, I've got many studio apartments. I've had people stay in studio apartments for 7, 8, 10 years. And it's like $3.50 a square foot. You know, the cost, I benefit from studio apartments. Anyway, I love my tenants also. It's like having, right now, 27 families that go out to work every day and share a quarter or more of their income with me every month, and I don't even have to supervise them. And I have had tenants like you've had too. I had a tenant who called every organization, the health department, city inspections, this, that, and the other, claimed she had black toxic mold in her apartment and all the rest, decided to stop paying rent. Wonderful. I was able to evict her. Then she sued me, and I won that as well. But the point is, I've had bad tenants too. Yeah, I don't know if she got off her meds or lost her boyfriend. I don't know what it was. But, you know, she just, after a couple of years, just went cuckoo. Last example of tenants. Through the entire pandemic, 100% of my tenants paid 100% of their rent, except for one person who struggled, applied to the city of LA, got the money, I was fully reimbursed, and then she moved out as soon as I was paid in full. So what I'm getting at is the attitudes of loving your tenants, showing them how to handle money effectively, doing the proper screening up front benefits you. Now, let's talk about the city of Burbank and how they're helping you. There's a thing called the Burbank's Tenants Unit, BTU, and this is it's called a manifesto. And when I heard that word, I thought, oh, that sounds similar. And so I bought a couple more books, like the Communist Manifesto, and like Hitler's Mein Kampf. And guess what? The situations and the explanations and the attitudes are the same in those books as in this book, Abolish Rent. This is what the Burbank City Council is pushing. They were elected by what is called the Democratic Socialists of America Party. Forget about the word democratic, has nothing to do with anything. They are socialists. And that's what Mein Kampf and the Communist Manifesto talks about, is socialism. However, this is the Constitution of the United States. And it says we have property rights. That's a part of the founding of this country. In addition to that, voting is supposed to be respected. What the voters say is supposed to be respected. In Burbank, 63% of the population voted not to have housing control, not to have rent control, and the city council is ignoring what the voters have said. They do not respect the will of the voters. And that's what you're fighting against. If you want to know what needs to be done, and you want to know your enemy, this is the book to read so you can fight back. And I think I did it on time.
Be clear, it's 3 of our council members.
Yes, 3 of 5, right? 5. Well, that means it's a majority.
Correct.
Okay, yes.
Has any city successfully stopped renting?
There have been,
Has anybody successfully stopped?
not that I'm aware of, but that doesn't mean it hasn't happened. The associate.
Times as a city, it starts with an S, inland from Pacific Grove, who has gone away from rent control and now going towards subsidies, whereas one other on the coast has reduced their subsidy. I think it was Hayward maybe, or something like that, right around there, Concord, Hayward.
Okay, so there's a little bit of it, but the point is,
City, Long Beach, but they because of a lawsuit, so an organization in Long Beach sued Gavin Newsom and the city of Long Beach, and they asked to be released from the lawsuit if they retracted, went back on rent control. But that's the only one I know.
well, what I was going to say is the Greater Association, AGLA.
Owners Association of Greater Los Angeles.
Yes, the Apartment Owners Association of Greater Los Angeles shows up at the different cities, like Claremont Claremont just backed off of having a rent registry. But in terms of getting rid of rent control, no. I remember a quote from a Swedish economist. You know, Sweden, they're liberal. Swedish economist said the best way to destroy a city other than bombing is rent control. And so the point is, I'm looking at giving up my building in Los Angeles, donating it to a charitable remainder trust or something, because I'm getting fed up. I can't fix Los Angeles, but at least in Burbank, we've got a fighting chance. So that's why I'm here, and I want to protect what I've got in Burbank. So thank you. Okay.